my name is Olivia Gudaniec and welcome to another episode. Today we're going to talk about Nuit Blanche, a place, an event that happens every single year, so 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. It's free public art, curated in Toronto for all of you guys. So today we're going to talk about visual storytelling, how the art community in Toronto is evolving, and today we're here with an incredible guest, Umbereen Inayet. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So exciting. If you guys have been to Nuit Blanche before, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't, comment no, and we can answer any questions you may have. So Umbereen here is a national award-winning artistic producer. Who's also a commissioner and a curator of public art, which is kind of a mouthful to say.
I know.
So do you want to kind of explain it / summarize what you do?
Sure, that's a good question. I produce public art, I produce events, and what that means is bringing stories, bringing artworks to life in the actual form. So that's anywhere from thinking about venues, thinking about duration, because we are an event from sunset to sunrise, to the materials, to the most important thing, which is the why. You know, why are we saying this? What are we saying? And that's the storytelling part that I love the most.
So you've got your hands full.
A little bit, yeah.
What is the craziest installation you've ever brought to life?
Oh, so one is called Global Rainbow, and that's one where we shot lasers to the CN Tower. And the artist's name was Yvette Matern, and it was basically the stunning rainbow that she had presented around the world. But we had to jump through all these interesting hurdles, like work with the airport, because they needed to make sure these lasers didn't interfere with plane signals. Right?
Could you imagine, like, laying here,
like,
these colors?
And then bird activists, because we had to make sure the lasers weren't affecting birds, so basically them like getting sidetracked and smashing into a window. So we have to do that, or not me, my production partner.
Like who would even think of all these things, but they come up and that these are challenges that you have to face, right?
Totally.
And you have to solve before the project can get approved.
100,000%.
So how do you filter through all of these proposals that come your way? Do they come directly to you?
Initially, we used to work with an artistic advisory board, and now we have a committee. It's not a board. A lot of us programmers, we suggest artists and curators that we think would be great. We commission our own stuff, which is nice, and that's because we've been there for so long. We can tell who needs to come to the event that may not be coming. And I think the city and just people in the art community are much more open to blurring those boundaries, and it's given us freedom to really explore new territories, like who to collaborate with. It's like blown it out of the water. Like, for example, last year I worked with the Toronto Raptors. You know, we commissioned.
Yeah, I saw that on your Instagram story.
Thank you. And who would have thought that would have happened? And it worked.
Have you ever gotten, I guess, a proposal and you just laughed and you're like, I can't even look at this?
Oh yeah.
All the time, or?
Many. You know, people can be very conceptual in the art world, which is amazing. You know, there's so much depth, there's so much rigor, you know, what they would call in the art world, and a lot of academia. But my biggest thing, you know, especially representing the people, is, does this translate? You know, not to dumb it down, but will it speak to somebody who may not be from a certain rhetoric?
So what's the worst response you ever got on a project? Like, is there something that stands out?
Sometimes a project can go down because, you know, we have 12 hours for this, you know, for the example of Nuit Blanche. And let's just say it's like raining, or if there's wind. You know, sometimes a project just breaks down because of the elements, and people show up and there's nothing to see, and that's tough because an artist has worked on it all year. For example, you know, when I worked with Director X, we had this 45-foot sphere, and 2 days before the event, it literally ripped and blew away and was like hanging over the stage of City Hall. So to me, that was the most epic nightmare that you could ever imagine.
Yes.
And everybody saw it, and then it was on, you know, different media outlets. And that was really disappointing, but we were able to turn that narrative around by just telling the truth. And things like that do happen.
I know I've seen it a few years. I'd get there and be like, okay, what's going on?
Exactly.
But yeah.
Exactly. And there's more that meets the eye. And the thing is, now we're in a world of like 30-second interest. So if I can't be wowed in 30 seconds, I'm on to the next thing. Or if it's not in my face, or if I'm not going to actually look at the map.
Or understand.
Yeah, and people will say, oh, this sucked. But it's like, did you give it a chance? Did you try? And in a way, that's difficult.
Yeah.
Because you have to really wow people in under a minute.
Have you ever had something like go viral?
Absolutely. I mean, Death of the Sun with Director X went extremely viral. I mean, that someone like Director X and Floria brought in was massive. So much so that, you know, it got to Drake, and then Drake took our piece on the Boy Meets World tour.
That was fantastic. Yeah,
Thank
I was
you.
like, go you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're
Myself
making
and X.
waves.
Yeah, and the other thing I would add about that, which was cool, is that people started to engage in the piece. So they would stand in front of the work and they would sort of contort their bodies in a way that the work was behind it, and then they would, I don't know, kiss each other and hug each other, and that sort of next layer of storytelling started to happen, which had never happened before, and that was really cool to see as it went viral.
So if you could design or have somebody design the perfect art piece for Nuit Blanche, what do you have in mind?
Well, I've had this dream to work with Pharrell Williams, huge dream. And, you know, Pharrell has synesthesia. And so when he hears music, he sees color. And I have been dying to do an exhibition with him, you know, either him as the artist or him that he curates so that the public could experience going through, you know, these immersive experiences where they see and hear, you know, how he experiences life. And it's also a celebration of abilities and differences, you know, like this ended up being a massive gift for him. And I think Stevie Wonder is the same.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's my dream, Pharrell. My dream.
All right, so we'll just make sure he sees this
yes,
little
please.
interview.
Yes, please. Well, he's actually curating a condo in Toronto, untitled.
So, you know, it's not that far off. So.
It's not that far off.
It's not that far.
It's never that far.
Thanks for sticking to the end. I will see you, same place, same time, next week, right? Don't forget.